On, one of Britain's wealthiest charities is getting rid of white board members, all in the name, of course, of diversity. The Tudor Trust says its board is almost entirely white and privileged, and now it is forcing staff to learn about what it calls racial justice and white supremacy culture. Here we go again. I'm joined by Alka Sehgal Cuthbert, who's the director of Don't Divide Us. Alka, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. How are you? Here we go again. It's white privileged people who are being told they have too much privilege. They're being told they're too white. They took the knee to Black Lives Matter during lockdowns. Now they're taking the knee and surrendering to get the chop. Is this even legal?
Well, that's a very good question, Martin. I think this charity is making itself a laughingstock, really. I mean, they're meant to be helping marginalised groups. And what have they done by helping them get grants? And what have they done? They've actually suspended giving any grants for a start. So that's a very odd way of fulfilling your charitable mission. You know, they're meant to be serving their community, right? They say they're making these changes to be more representative of the communities which they serve. But the community they serve includes white people, and it includes privileged people. It's not a sin to be white or to be privileged. I mean, it seems to me that we hear this so often, you know, so we've got to serve the needs of be more representative of our community. And that just seems to be a cover for really a new form of racism. I mean, you know, you're not meant to discriminate against people on the basis of their skin colour. And if you're a professional organisation, you would think you would value the experience, the efforts, you know, all the work that the existing trustees have done over the years in giving grants, not kind of, you know, decide you're going to submit them to some kind of Maoist-style retraining, re-education call.
Well, don't you think, Alka, a lot of people now are seeing through this for what it is, and basically racial justice means less white people. It means more racism against white people. That's what it stands for, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I mean, it's really divisive. And I think it does more than that. I mean, it encourages a very lazy, reductive way of thinking, you know, where it encourages us to see ourselves and see other people as just as like ciphers for skin colour, and you pop everyone on some grid of power, and then you just sort of attribute brownie points. It's a kind of, you know, it's an elite political ideology that's being, you know, pushed into our institutions using the language that's trying to present itself as being, you know, kind and nice and democratic, when actually it's the opposite of all those things, really.
And Alka, most of the bad things in humanity is driven by power and money. It's starting to feel like the racial justice industry is precisely driven by power and money. It's more money for people like them, it's more power for people like them, and it's less power and less money and less work for people who aren't like them, who in this case are white people.
Well, that's right. I mean, it isn't. I mean, it is a horrible re-racialisation of our society and of our culture, really, and it's a very effective way of putting people on the back foot, you know, so that you kind of, you know, not become quite self-censoring, even to the point where to ask a question about it. I mean, this is just, you know, there's no reason for this. There's been no you know, incidents of racism to which this is a response. This is a new elite, which is not just black people, it's white people as well. But the point is, whatever skin colour you are, these people share this sort of system of beliefs, you know, this ideology in social racial justice, this ideology that the whole of society has to be remade anew. It's a very radical one. It thinks anything that already exists must be tainted by the past. It's like they can't you know, we're not allowed to use our own thinking and judgment to decide which bits of our past, which bits of our norms we want to keep.
OK, Alka Sehgal Cuthbert, we have to leave it there. Director of Don't Divide Us, thank you very much for joining us on the show. And now the Tudor Trust has issued the following statement. The Tudor Trust has embarked on a well-publicised step change in its mission, which involves reviewing the giving priorities of the charity to reflect contemporary needs of our grantee community. As part of that planned evolution, the trustees resolved to refresh the board with the objective of making it more representative of the demographics and lived experiences of the communities we serve. So there you go.